Hi everyone. Let's face it, the financial world is complicated. Not only is there a staggering amount of information out there, but the laws and rules are constantly changing. Beware of these misconceptions. They can put your finances at risk. Misconception number 1, you can borrow from an IRA. Many people have heard that you can borrow money from a 401k plan that your company might offer. While this might be true of some 401ks, it's not true for all. And it's known as a participant loan. However, this is not the case for IRAs. IRAs are different than 401k plans, and there are no loan provisions with an IRA. If you take money from an IRA, you're going to be taxed, and if you're under age 59 and a half, it's likely that you're going to be charged penalties on top of that. Now, there are some exceptions for pulling money out of an IRA. However, there is no opportunity to pay yourself back in the form of a loan the same way you can in a 401k. This misconception might be due to what is known as the 60-day rule for IRAs. This rule was established to provide a way for people to roll over funds from one IRA to another without incurring taxes and penalties. If that rollover transaction did not occur within 60 days, the IRA owner would be subject to taxes and penalties. You'd be out of luck. Now, it's important to note that the IRS allowed this 60-day rule as a way to facilitate rollovers between institutions. It was never intended as a way for people to access funds from their IRA and pay them back within 60 days. In fact, the IRS has won cases in tax court for people that owe taxes and misuse the 60-day rule. In any event, it is highly unadvisable to take advantage of the 60-day rule unless you are actually using it to facilitate a rollover, not as a loan. Personal finance misconception number 2. Investing a small amount won't really make a difference. If you're just starting out or the budget is tight, it might seem difficult to find extra funds available to invest. But if you start with $50 a month and you get a 4% annual rate of return, after 20 years, you're going to have over $17,000. Obviously, $17,000 isn't enough to retire on. However, if you increase that $50 a month by 8% a year, can you guess what happens to that $17,000 at the end of 20 years? It doubles. Don't make the mistake of underestimating how a little bit over a long time can add up to a lot. Personal finance misconception number 3. Gold is a safe haven. While it is true that gold can increase in value during times of market upheaval, that doesn't necessarily mean it's safe. At the end of the day, gold is a precious metal. And like all precious metals, those investments are very volatile. That means they can go up and down very rapidly. FDIC-insured CDs, savings accounts, even fixed annuities, those are very safe and stable investments. Now, I'm not suggesting that I'm recommending them, but it's important to understand the difference. I've had conversations with many people who during times of market upheaval were actually considering taking money out of FDIC-insured CDs and putting them in gold because they had read a news story that said gold is a safe haven. Nothing could be further from the truth. Now, I'm not anti-gold and I'm not pro-gold. Gold can play an important part of a well-diversified portfolio. However, putting all of your hard-earned money into gold during times of market upheaval and expecting that that's going to be safe, nothing could be further from the truth. Personal finance misconception number 4. Bonds are safe. While it's generally true that bonds are a lower risk profile than stocks, and usually you're utilizing bonds to offset the riskiness of stocks in a portfolio, not all bonds are created equal. Bonds issued by the U.S. government are generally considered the safest in the world. But as safe as U.S. government bonds are, they can still drop in value. If interest rates rise, in general, the value of U.S. government bonds and many other types of bonds will decline in value. There are also bonds out there that are called high yield bonds. These bonds have a nickname. It's called junk bonds. So if anyone is ever talking to you about investing in high yield bonds, you need to be aware that these types of bonds are actually more like stocks in terms of their volatility. If you're looking for safety, high yield bonds are not the place to be. If you're investing in high yield bonds, you can expect to receive a pretty decent interest rate and dividend from a high yield bond portfolio. But if the stock market starts dropping, it's reasonable to expect that your high yield bonds will too. And that defeats the purpose of investing in bonds in the first place for most people. So don't fall victim to the idea that all bonds are safe. You have to know which ones you're investing in. Personal finance misconception number 5. Your will and trust covers your retirement accounts. If you've established a will and a trust, congratulations. It's an important part of our financial journey. And as our lives go on, things change. Kids move out of the house. We remarry. Sadly, we may lose a spouse. There are a variety of reasons why you would need to update your will and your trust. But it's important to note that you also need to take the additional step to update the beneficiaries of your retirement accounts. The misconception is that as long as you have a will and a trust, that trumps everything. It really doesn't. You need to take the extra step and make sure the beneficiary designations on your retirement accounts reflect what you want to have happen and are consistent with what you've spelled out in your will and your trust. Now, I want to make sure that you all know that I'm not an estate planning attorney, and that's not legal advice for you. Consult your own estate planning attorney in your state to make sure you're up to date on what the laws and rules are for you. Beware of these misconceptions. They can put your finances at risk. Do you have questions about personal finance or anything that we've discussed in this video? Please make sure to leave them in the comments section. And lastly, be sure to subscribe. Your subscription to my channel really helps. It'll allow me to continue to put out content that is very beneficial for you in your financial journey. Thanks for watching.